pretty stormy day here today, so definitely competing with the sound of the rain on the window. Competing with Mother Nature for who can make the best trigger. But hit that like button if you've got my back. Now, it's been a while. I've missed a few UFC pay-per-views with my prediction videos. I think I was having some UFC fatigue for the last pay-per-view card. We were on Discord chatting along, and that was so much fun. When this video drops, I'm actually on vacation, and I don't think I'll be able to stay up. I don't know how Europeans do it, because it's gonna be just in the middle of the night. But I am really, really excited for most of this card. We'll get into it. So I thought it was the perfect time to come back and start making prediction videos again. Quick asterisk, quick note, because there's always someone in the comments going, you have to be an idiot to take betting advice from an ASMR video. So as always, I cannot stress enough that this is not betting advice. This is not why we're making these predictions. This is mostly just me embarrassing myself with bad predictions for your entertainment or relaxation. And don't forget to drop your predictions for UFC 306 in the comments. And we'll start with Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Osbourne at flyweight. So this is Rodriguez's second UFC fight. He also competed in the Contender Series in 2020 as Luis Rodriguez. I think his full name is Luis Ronaldo Rodriguez. He lost that one. He lost the Contender Series bout. Went back to Lux Fight League and then signed with the UFC earlier this year, or reappeared on the UFC earlier this year. And it still feels early to me to put him on the main card of a pay-per-view. He fought Dennis Bondar back in February. Lost the first round, kind of any way you look at it. Ended up winning by submission in the last couple seconds of the second round. But he's definitely got the UFC marketing machine behind him. Super tough chin on the kid, but maybe because of that he doesn't use a lot of head movement, and that could become an issue against someone like Osbourne, who has an 8-inch reach advantage, even just for the judges' scorecard. Like, he might not get knocked out, but Osbourne has that reach advantage, and as we'll talk about with Grasso a little bit later on, if Osbourne just touches him up a whole lot, it's going to be detrimental to Rodriguez's perceived fight. However, Osbourne, also with all due respect, doesn't really belong on this card. This feels like a sacrificial lamb situation where we've seen the UFC do this countless times before. Rodriguez is the newest product that they're trying to push, so they put him at the beginning of a pay-per-view against a guy who's coming off of 2 consecutive submission losses, barely connected on any shots in either of those fights. Osbourne is gonna have to strike early and strike hard if he wants a chance to win. The danger for Rodriguez is if he decides to stand with Osbourne for a bit for the sake of showmanship. I mean, this is his chance. This is the UFC giving him a shot in front of their biggest audience. If he decides to put on a bit of a standing show, then he could find himself in trouble. Otherwise, Rodriguez is very good on the ground, so if he persists and takes him down, he can win fairly early by submission. So my prediction is Rodriguez wins, and I just really don't care about this fight. But we quickly get on to the exciting matchups. We've got Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics at lightweight. Now, Zellhuber is on a bit of a hot streak. He won Fight of the Night his last time out against Prado, and rightfully so. It was a great fight. And then he got a performance bonus in his fight before that, which was the one that he ended with an anaconda choke after he defended a takedown. I think he's so fun to watch. I love his fight style. He's got great pace. Obviously tall for a lightweight. So when his combos start connecting, because of his reach, it's just kind of like overwhelming. He's got snappy little kicks, kind of like a Muay Thai, hybrid Muay Thai thing going on. Ribovics, on the other hand, he won 2 of his 4 UFC fights early in the first round. I'm talking, I think it was 30 and 90-second finishes, knockouts. Although, no one of them was a contender series fight, for what it's worth. Did I call it contender series? Because that's what I meant to call it. Sometimes I don't really hear what I'm saying. I did that with the Bret Hart video. What did I say instead of intercontinental? Did I say international? Back to Ribovics. I think when he doesn't let up, when he's aggressive and he counters, he is certainly dangerous. I mean, we've seen this, but I see more holes in his game than in Zellhuber's. And I think Zellhuber is a more focused fighter. I think he's more attentive in the moment. And I think this matchup is going to serve him well. Serve Zellhuber well. So my prediction for this fight is that Zellhuber wins. Then we get to the middle of the card. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes at featherweight. So, Brian Ortega, sort of working back from his last title shot, which was at UFC 266, all the way back in 2021. Decision loss to Volkanovski. Then Yair Rodriguez in 2022 injured his shoulder, needed surgery on that, and he didn't fight in 2023. Came back in February of this year for the Yair Rodriguez rematch. Yair busted him up pretty bad in the first round. Ortega had top control for most of round 2, and he ended up getting the early submission in the 3rd round. Hung on to that submission a little longer than he should have. But that was his first win since 2020 and his first submission win since 2017. And that's where he's at going into this fight against Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes, kind of like the opposite narrative, a much more active fighter. He fought 3 times in 2023, and this will be his 3rd fight in 2024. Love to see that. His last fight at 303 was supposed to be this Brian Ortega fight. Ortega pulled out day of. It was like this weird late, I guess, substitution for Ortega, and then apparently his body just broke down or something. And then Dan Ige stepped in at catch weight, 5 pounds heavier than Lopes, and Lopes won by unanimous decision. And before that, he had 3 consecutive first round finishes. He is strong, he is patient, and he is tactical, and he can take a shot. He can take a hit. And this is a huge fight for him, for Diego Lopes. He is ranked 12th in the division right now. Ortega is 3rd. So a win here could get him a huge bump in the rankings, and that'll put him in contention with the sort of 3 or 4 guys who are rotating for the belt right now. And, it's his time. Ortega has been around. He's talked about, after his surgery, sort of not being sure if it was worth it anymore. And then you have Lopes, who is completely buying into this run at the title. There's just a huge gap in mentality. And you'd think Ortega's gonna have to take him down to have a chance at winning, but Lopes is super dangerous off his back too. So as much as you'd like to see T-City get a final run at the title, for my prediction, I have to pick Diego Lopes to win, and I am very excited to see how far this guy goes. I definitely think there's a title run in him. Alright, speaking of title runs, let's move over to the title fights. So first, the co-main event, we have Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Their third title fight at flyweight. So obviously we have to look at their previous meetings. The first fight was going Valentina's way by the numbers pretty significantly, I think. And then Grasso had this moment of just, genius. Like pure fight IQ in the fourth round, where Valentina tries a spinning back kick and Grasso reads it and takes her back while she's turned around. Wins by, was it rear naked choke or neck crank maybe, depending on who you talk to, and takes the belt with Diego Lopes in her corner, might I add. The second fight, super even, super back and forth, and Mike Bell, one of the three judges, had to go and ruin everyone's fun by giving Grasso a 10-8 round for the final round, which he had absolutely no business doing, and it resulted in a split draw because the other two judges had it 48-47 either way. Split draw is never good, but a split draw for a title should be criminal. We should just say, alright, let's get them back. Let's get them back in the cage for one final round. So where does that leave us for this fight? If I'm Grasso, obviously I'm going for Valentina's back early. Because remember, at the end of the second fight, she had Valentina's back, and Valentina was completely disarmed for the rest of the round, which was the rest of the fight. Okay. This one is tough for me because Valentina came so close twice. Theoretically, in my mind, any time it goes to a decision for these two, Shevchenko wins. She has more ground control usually. She has more significant strikes. The thing about Grasso that I was referring to at the top of this video is that she will outstrike you with touches. She'll outwork you. And even those significant strikes, by the rules, should have more impact on a decision. The judges like the look of Grasso's fighting, which is what matters, or of Grasso's striking at least. Now, I want Shevchenko based on her career, I like both of these women. Based on Shevchenko's career, I don't know how long she has left in the UFC, and I would like her to go out on top. I think she deserves to. But, you know, she was never able to get one over on Nunez. And I think that Grasso will be the other fighter that just haunts her forever. And on top of that, on top of Grasso fighting in a way that, you know, translates well to the judge's eyes, she's theoretically going to have the home crowd behind her. It's a Mexican Independence Day event. I expect the crowd to be cheering for her, and that just never hurts the perspective that the judges will have. And I don't want it to sound like I think that if Grasso wins, it's undeserved. I think she's a fantastic fighter, and you know, for that matter, my prediction is that Grasso wins, and then we can move on. This is the thing. I'm happy to see Grasso hold the title and defend it. I want to move on from this matchup and give Manon Fiorot her shot, hopefully in February, probably March. But this belt has been in limbo for too long, and Manon Fiorot has been in limbo for too long. And as much as I love Shevchenko, I love Grasso, so I'm glad we get to see them fight again. But it's time to get this belt moving again. So Grasso, it wins, is my prediction. And finally, the main event, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, who I will refer to as Merab from now on because we've talked about this on this channel before. Some of you were saying in the comments, even he pronounces his name different ways. They're fighting at bantamweight for the title. And by the way, I will link the video that I made after Sean's last fight in the description, and probably also somewhere up here, in case you haven't seen it, because I was super impressed with that performance, and that definitely impacts the way I see this fight going. So first of all, let me make a prediction for the comments section. I predict that most of you will back Merab, because I remember for the Cejudo fight, there are a lot of Merab fans out there, which is awesome. But I think, genuinely, it's a really hard fight to call, and it's a really interesting matchup of techniques and styles. You know, Merab's MO is control. He's not a finisher from what we've seen, so he's going to have to sit on Sean and frustrate him, keep shooting for the takedown, keep pitting him against the cage. This is how Merab wins fights. But I know that O'Malley is getting ready for him. Sure, he's the funny guy with the pink hair and the kitschy clothes, but did you see the Chito Vera fight? He has proven how seriously he's taking his job and his career, and the outside might be a distraction to some. I think it's really good branding. But he's so smart in the octagon, so skilled, and certainly is a world-class fighter. Now, Merab is going to be the toughest wrestler that he's faced. Without a doubt. I'm not denying that. And maybe this is all wishful thinking, because I find Sean to be the more exciting fighter of the two. But if he's leveled up even more since Cheeto, if he's studied up and knows how to counter Merab, how to use his build against him, his height and his reach, which I believe he is putting in that work with his team, then it's his fight to dictate. I think Merab will go on the offensive like he usually does and expect to fight his fight and do what's been working for him. But he might get into trouble if Sean has an answer to that. So that is my prediction / hope. Go easy on me in the comments. Sugar Sean and still. And again, for the record, I'm not a Merab denier, and I'm a little afraid of what he's capable of in this fight. So I'm gonna run away now before I change my mind. Don't forget to drop your predictions in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video.